The Create-A-Bed Murphy bed mechanism was designed for the do-it-yourselfer with basic woodworking skills and tools. This patented mechanism uses gas springs instead of metal springs. It requires no floor mounting and was designed for years of daily use and comfortable sleep. The unique locking leg design prevents the bed from being lowered without first opening the legs. This helps avoid possible damage to the bed that could result from the bed being lowered improperly. This video is to be used in conjunction with your illustrated step-by-step construction booklet to construct a Murphy bed using the Create-A-Bed Murphy bed mechanism. Before you start this project, read through the instruction booklet intended for use with the wood product you plan to use and review this tape from start to finish. This mechanism and these instructions were developed after years of engineering and field testing. The measurements and mounting positions of the mechanism combine with the recommended materials to create a Murphy bed that will raise and lower easily and provide years of trouble-free use. You can add decorative molding and trim to create the Murphy bed that suits your decor, but you should not substitute materials or deviate from these instructions without first calling CAB Incorporated toll-free at this number. Advanced woodworkers and professionals can substitute quality hardwoods for the materials we specify in the instructions, but you should still check with our technical assistance department first. Unpack your mechanism and check to see that these parts are included. 3 printed booklets, a yellow booklet you'll use if you are building your bed cabinet out of veneered or furniture-grade plywood, a white booklet you'll use if you're building your bed cabinet from a combination of particle board and plywood, and a blue booklet that you will use to assemble and install your Murphy bed after you have constructed the cabinet components. 2 black piston gas springs, 4 ball stud plates, 2 upper and 2 lower, and 12 black number 10 by 3/4 inch screws and 8 T-nuts with machine screws. 2 bed stops with screws, 2 locking leg latches with attached cables, 2 pair of male-female pivot rod plates with washers, 2 E-clips, 4 T-nuts with machine screws, and 12 number 12 3/4 inch zinc screws. 2 steel leg hinges with 16 number 8 5/8 inch round head mounting screws and 2 locking washers, and 2 elastic mattress retaining straps. If any parts or components are missing, call this toll-free number. The basic tools required are a power drill, power saw, jigsaw, Phillips head screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, tape measure, hammer, clamps, and a straight edge or framing square. This is the time to choose the material to build the bed cabinet. 2 separate construction booklets are included in your kit, the yellow one for plywood construction and the white one for a combination of particle board and plywood construction. We strongly recommend veneered, sometimes referred to as furniture grade, plywood for the construction of the bed cabinet because plywood is much stronger, lighter, and more durable than particle board. Select the construction booklet for the wood material you'll be using and discard the other booklet. A bill of materials and cut sheet is included in your booklet. Refer to these pages to calculate the amount of wood components and other construction materials you'll need to purchase. Your bill of materials also includes the recommended size and weight of the inner spring mattress you'll use on your Murphy bed. The Murphy bed cabinet you will be constructing consists of the following parts identified by letter here and on the cut sheet in your construction booklet. Part A, the inner wood bed frame. Parts B, the 2 side rails. Part C, the foot rail. Part D, the head rail. Part E, the bed face panel. Part F, the bed headboard. Parts G, the 2 bed cabinet verticals. Part H, the bed header. Parts I, the 4 wooden legs. And Part J, the 1/4 inch plywood mattress support. Using the safety precautions appropriate for the tools you're working with, cut the wooden pieces described on the bill of materials. To reduce waste, refer to the cutting guide in your booklet. We'll start with Part A, the inner wood bed frame. Part A consists of the frame struts and the two frame sides. The length of your frame struts and their spacing will depend on the size of the bed you're building. Refer to your construction booklet. Start with 2 frame strut pieces. Run a bead of wood glue along the 3/4 inch wide edge of the first frame strut. Glue the narrow edge of the first frame strut to the bottom half of the second frame strut, checking to make sure that the ends are flush. Drill pilot holes approximately 8 inches apart and nail with 1.5" finish nails or number 8 1.5" screws. Place the frame strut assemblies on a flat surface as shown. Note the orientation of the struts. Place the frame sides at the ends of the frame struts. Space the frame struts according to the dimensions required for the size bed you're building. Mount the frame struts between the frame sides. Using an 1/8 inch drill bit, countersink and drill pilot holes through the frame sides into each end of the L-shaped frame struts. Screw the number 8 2-inch wood screws flush. The 11 1/4 inch frame strut spacing measurement, as measured from the outside of the first frame strut to the outside of the second frame strut, must be exact to ensure proper alignment of the locking leg mechanism. This end will be the foot of the bed. Apply pre-glued veneer tape to the upper edges of the side rails and the upper edges and ends of the foot rail and head rail. Measure a length of veneer tape 2 inches longer than the piece you're taping. With the glue side down, place the veneer tape on the edge to be taped and heat the tape with a warm iron. Apply pressure to the veneer tape with a small block of wood. Trim the ends and edges of the veneer tape flush with the surface. Special edge trimming tools are available that make this process easier. Refer to your construction booklet for the mounting positions of the lower ball stud plate and the female pivot plate. Determine which side rail will be on the left and which will be on the right side of the face panel. Position the side rails with the right side rail on your left and the left side rail on your right, with the top banded edges away from you on a flat surface. Pull the 2 template pages out of the booklet and place the left side rail template on your work surface above the left side rail and the right side rail template above the right side rail. Please note that the placement of the metal mechanism components is different for the different bed sizes and may vary from what you see here. Starting with the right side rail, use the measurements on the template for placement of the 1-inch pivot hole. Mark and drill a 1-inch hole through the right side rail. For a cleaner hole and to avoid damaging your work surface, place a scrap of wood under the side rail before drilling. Now measure and drill the 1-inch hole in the left rail. Create a spacer by cutting a piece of wood 5/16 of an inch thick. Using the measurements indicated on the template, measure the distance from the center of the 1-inch pivot hole back toward the end of the side rail and mark. Mark a perpendicular line down from the edge. Place the 5/16 inch wood spacer between the finished edge of the side rail and the ball stud. The pencil line should be centered in the center hole of the ball stud plate. Use a square to align the ball stud plate on the side rail. Mark the positions of the mounting screws. Drill 3 quarter-inch diameter holes through the right side rail. Insert the 3 T-nuts through the inside of the side rail. Screw the machine screws through the lower ball stud plate into the T-nuts. Drill 2 pilot holes for the 2 number 10 3/4-inch screws, taking care not to drill all the way through the side rail. Do not over-tighten. Mount the lower ball stud plate on the left side rail using the measurements on the left side rail template. Place the left and right side rails on edge, with the ball stud plates facing the outside closest to you. Starting with the right side rail, lay the rail outside down. Mount the female pivot plate to the inside of the right side rail. Press the female pivot plate into the pivot hole. Screw the plate flush to the rail using the number 12 3/4-inch zinc screws provided in the kit. Now mount the female pivot plate to the left side rail. Start with the right side rail. Position the end of the right side rail with the mounted hardware at the head of the inner wood bed frame. Remember, the foot of the inner wood bed frame is the end with the 11 1/4-inch rail spacing. Keeping the ends and bottom of the right side rail flush with the end and bottom of the inner bed frame, use an 1/8-inch drill bit to drill 8 holes 1 1/4 inches deep through the wooden bed frame into the right side rail. Drill 8 number 8 1 1/4-inch wood screws flush, snugging the inner wood bed frame to the right side rail. You can glue and screw these pieces if you prefer. Repeat these steps to mount the left side rail to the inner wood bed frame. Mount the footrail part C to the side rails and inner wood bed frame by first checking to make sure the sides and bottom are flush. Drill 2 1/8-inch pilot holes 2 inches deep through the footrail into the side rails. Drive 2 number 8 2-inch long wood screws flush into each side rail. Next, drill 4 1/8-inch pilot holes 1 1/4 inch deep through the inner wood bed frame into the footrail. Do not drill all the way through the footrail. Drive the 1 1/4 inch wood screws flush. Mount the headrail part D to the side rails and inner wood bed frame by first checking to make sure the sides and bottom are flush. Drill 2 1/8-inch pilot holes 2 inches deep through the headrail into the side rails. Drive 2 number 8 2-inch long wood screws flush into each side rail. Drill 4 1/8-inch pilot holes 1 1/4 inches deep through the inner wood bed frame into the headrail. Drive the 1 1/4 inch wood screws flush. Again, do not drill all the way through the headrail. For best results, examine both sides of the face panel pieces parts E to determine which sides will be the front or bottom of the finished face panel component. Apply wood veneer edge banding tape or melamine edge tape to the 3 outer edges of the 2 bed face panel pieces parts E. To create the appearance of a bifold door, score the center of the 2 panels 1/8 inch deep the full length of the panels. Create the hole for the leg by first marking the center of the left face panel piece. Measure and place a mark halfway between the taped edge of the face panel and the center of the panel. Mark the position of the leg hole by measuring down 12 inches from the second mark. Refer to the booklet for the dimensions of the leg hole. Mark the hole and use a jigsaw or plunge router to create a rectangular hole 12 inches down from the top finished edge of the face panel part E. Repeat on the right side face panel. Turn both face panels over so that the fronts are good side down and the unfinished edges are next to each other. On the back side, mark a 1/4 inch pencil line along the full length of each panel along the finished long edge. With the bed face panels still lying face down, butt the 2 unfinished inside edges together. Make sure the 1/4 inch pencil marks are visible on the outer finished edges. Apply construction adhesive to the inner wood bed frame. Aligning the sides of the bed frame with the 1/4-inch pencil marks, lay the assembled bed frame on top of the face panel pieces, making sure the top edge of the assembled bed frame is flush with the top finished edges of the bed face panels. The face panel must extend 1/4 inch on both sides of the bed frame assembly. The bottom end of the face panel will extend 1/4 inch past the bottom end of the bed frame. Working one side at a time, screw the section marked X first, using number 8 1 1/4 inch screws. Keeping the end flush, screw the section marked Y. Making sure there is a 1/4 inch face panel overhang at the bottom, screw the section marked Z. Repeat on the other side, proceeding in the X, Y, Z order. Drill pilot holes and screw the remaining struts to the face panel about 6 inches apart, taking care not to drill all the way through the face panel. Make 4 wood legs, 3/4 inches thick, 3 inches wide, and 7 inches high. Only 2 legs will use the leg hinges. The other 2 legs are fixed to the face panel and used to lower the bed. You will attach a standard drawer or door pull to each of the 4 wood legs. The spacing of the holes in the legs will depend on the style and size of the pulls you select. Measure the span between the pull holes and drill 2 corresponding 1/4 inch holes through each of the legs. Countersink the screw holes on the back sides of the legs so the screw heads will be flush with the wood leg. Be sure to mount the pull before mounting the leg hinge. The measurements and orientation of the hinges on the legs are very important for the proper operation of the leg hinge and the locking mechanism. Position the hinge with the large open end up 3/4 inch from the top edge and 1/2 inch from the side edges as shown. Drill pilot holes and screw 4 number 8 5/8 inch screws to secure the hinge to the leg. To mount the legs with the hinges to the face panel and frame strut, push the hinge end through the opening in the face panel. Make sure the wood leg is flush against the face panel. Drill pilot holes and screw 2 number 8 5/8 inch screws through the holes at the end of the hinge inside the face panel. Drill pilot holes and screw the remaining 2 number 8 5/8 inch screws into the hinge. You will have to drill and screw at an angle. The locking leg latch is located at the top of the bed in the footboard. The latch is connected to the leg hinge with a length of cord. The latch locks the bed in its closed position. When both legs are opened, the cord retracts the locking latch and the bed can then be lowered for use. Be sure to perform these next steps in order. Drill a 1/4 inch hole above the upper outside edge of the leg hinge through the bed strut. Measure the distance from the inside of the side rail to the 1/4 inch hole in the bed strut. From the outer edge of the foot rail, measure over the same distance you measured inside the face panel and add 3/4 inch, the thickness of the side rail, and mark. From the inside edge of the face panel, measure 9/16 inch on the foot rail and mark. Drill a 1 inch diameter hole completely through the foot rail and frame strut. A Forstner drill bit is a helpful tool for this step. Now repeat these steps for the right leg. Remember to drill the 1/4 inch hole above the outside edge of the leg assembly. Push a locking latch cord first into the hole in the footboard with the flat side facing forward. If the latch does not fit snugly or is loose in the hole, wrap masking tape around the widest part of the latch until it fits snugly. Push the cord through the 1/4-inch hole in the frame and out through the leg hole. Remove the screw closest to the hole in the leg strut and add the lock washer. Replace the screw about halfway. Pull the cord tight to retract the locking latch and wrap the cord under the washer clockwise and tighten the screw. Do not trim the excess cord until you've applied a finish to the wood. Lay the cabinet verticals, parts G, on your padded work surface with the outside sides down and the taped edges out. Start with the left vertical. Measure 7 1/4 inches from the front finished edge and 4 inches down from the top edge and drill a hole 5/16 of an inch in diameter and 1/2 inch deep. Be careful not to drill all the way through the vertical. Insert the bed stop pin into the hole and attach it with a No. 8 5/8 inch panhead screw. Refer to the booklet for the mounting position of the upper ball stud plate. Measure from the bottom of the vertical and the front finished edge of the vertical and mark. Drill a 5/8 inch diameter hole 1/2 inch deep.